All right, so OG Anunoby made his debut for the New York Knicks today. I'm recording this on a Monday night. Happy New Year to everybody. Hope you guys had a great holiday. Let's talk about OG Anunoby. I will be doing a video on the Raptors-Cavaliers game later, talking about the debuts of Immanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett for their new teams as well. So stay tuned for that. So let's get right to the game. I think this game, even though it is one game, and I'm well aware of that, this debut kind of showed how OG Anunoby can unlock a lot of things for the Knicks on both ends of the court. You saw a little bit of everything that, OG Anunoby brings to the table. The versatile defense. He guarded Anthony Edwards for a lot of the time. He also guarded Karl Anthony Towns. And Karl Anthony Towns kind of made hay being guarded by Julius Randle, but OG Anunoby, whenever he was switched onto Karl Anthony Towns, he made Karl Anthony Towns take some tough shots, and he was able to get some tough rebounds, both offensive and defensive rebounds, against a very big Minnesota Timberwolves front line. The Knicks won this game with mostly their defense today, even though they did give up a 21-point lead at one point. But on both ends of the floor, you kind of saw what OG brought to the table, especially on the offensive end, and this brings me back to a comment that I saw on my OG Anunoby trade reaction video. Basically, the comment intimated that RJ and OG are kind of the same, or maybe RJ slightly better. Look, I have RJ Barrett stock, maybe to my detriment, but in no universe is RJ Barrett a better basketball player than OG Anunoby, in my opinion. I think their universe is apart. And I think this comment, this train of thought, comes from, one, people just not wanting to watch the Raptors. Understandably so. The Raptors have a very slog of a half-court offense to watch for the last few seasons now. And I think Bill Simmons also said this on his podcast recently with Ryan Russillo. Even though I didn't listen to the podcast, I listened to the clip on Twitter where he basically said that OG Anunoby and RJ Barrett were basically the same player, which is just insane to me. OG Anunoby, before the trade happened, was a perennial all-defensive caliber player, a DPOY candidate from the perimeter, can legitimately switch 1 through 5, and on offense, he's a more efficient offensive player, even though he might not be as good of a shot creator as RJ Barrett, but he is a better three-point shooter, he's a better connective passer. And while there's always been rumblings and reports that always come up on the internet of OG wanting a more expanded offensive role, he's very good in the condensed offensive role he plays in. And I think you saw a lot of that today for the Knicks. The ball was moving around more today. Before I even continue, I like the RJ Barrett and Immanuel Quickley trade on Toronto's end too, because they bring something to the table that Toronto needs that maybe the Knicks didn't need so much, and vice versa for the Knicks getting OG Anunoby. But the ball was hopping around today, and that's mainly because OG Anunoby is efficient with what he does with the ball. He makes quick decisions. Do I have an open corner three? I'm going to shoot it. Is somebody closing out on me? Okay, I'm going to take 1 or 2 dribbles and throw a nice pass. Like he had one to Josh Hart at the end of the second quarter. Or in the first quarter, OG Anunoby was coming off of a curl, I think it was, and he was able to dish it to Hartenstein, who then dished it to Julius Randle for a 3. So it's not even like the main assist, it's the hockey connective passing, the hockey assist that OG Anunoby provides. Not only that, the spacing with the 3-point shooting, and he's shooting like 40% from the corners, and he's somebody who's really athletic and who can catch passes in the dunker spot and elevate for a jam. The type of offensive player that OG Anunoby is more effective for this version of the Knicks team than what RJ Barrett was for the Knicks. Now, on the Raptor side of things, and I'll just talk about this really quickly because I don't want to give away too much when I do my Raptors video, but RJ Barrett and Immanuel Quickley bring much-needed ball handling, attacking the rim, going downhill, etc. that the Raptors have lacked, especially with the odd pairing, or not the odd pairing, but it was obvious the trio of Siakam, Anunoby, and Barnes wasn't a conducive half-court fit. And RJ Barrett and Immanuel Quickley bring extra ball handling, passing, and downhill attacking, drawing fouls, etc. So both teams needed what they got in the trade. And OG Anunoby is the type of offensive player that doesn't need the ball in his hands much. He has an 18% usage rate compared to 27% for RJ Barrett when he was with the Knicks. And it's just a better free-flowing offense. The ball is in the main guy's hands more, the main initiators' hands more, like Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, Isaiah Hartenstein can be a hub. By the way, Hartenstein was incredible today. He had 3 blocks on Rudy Gobert at the rim, and all 3 of them were just insanely sick to watch. But I think in this debut today, you saw exactly why the Knicks wanted OG Anunoby. Just a two-way versatile player that can do a lot of things and unlock a lot of things for this Knicks team. Its best players. You see the trickle-down effect. Quentin Grimes is getting more playing time now, or I imagine that's going to be the byproduct. He played 18 minutes today, was 2 of 3 from 3. But even the dirty stuff, OG Anunoby had 3 offensive rebounds, and he was fighting for loose balls. Like, this is the type of player that the Knicks needed. It's no wonder that they offered multiple first-round picks for him last year. At least that's according to Fred Katz of The Athletic. But yeah, RJ Barrett and OG Anunoby, if you're just comparing players and comparing their impact on the basketball court, it's not even a contest to me. And you see why. I mean, Tom Thibodeau, he didn't even waste any time. He played OG Anunoby 20 minutes in that first half. He nearly played him the entire first half. He did end up playing 35 minutes because, you got to at least give him some time to break into the team, right? But it's going to be interesting to see how this team coalesces and gels, because now it kind of makes a lot more sense. DiVincenzo, catch and shoot player, attack off a closeout, fights for offensive rebounds. Julius Randle, Hartenstein, and Brunson, they can initiate more now. OG Anunoby can space the floor, can shoot the corner threes, and that's a nice way to ease yourself into a new team, is everybody always needs a spacer, especially in the corners, which is OG Anunoby's office. He can also cut, move off ball, etc. And on the other end, he guarded pretty much everybody. He was on Kyle Anderson for a few possessions too. Like, he was just everywhere. So OG Anunoby displayed everything that the Knicks were looking for when they made that trade in his debut today, and it's going to be interesting to see how this team gels moving forward.